Welcome to the latest episode of the Review series. This week I am starting something new, reviewing books. As a writer and content creator of historical summaries, I read a ton of books and articles, and some may interest people looking for a deeper dive into the subject. The first book to be reviewed should be required reading for all Catholics, as it gives very useful insights into how the Church came to play such a dominant role in the social lives of its congregation. That book is Law, Sex, and Christian Society in Medieval Europe by historian James Brundage. Brundage provides detailed background on the development of canon law, but the most interesting bits for the lay Catholic will be about how the Church began to exert its stifling and unhealthy control over sex and marriage. That social control emerged from what are known as the Penitentials. The Penitentials were originally written for monks and nuns, supposedly living a celibate lifestyle in their cloistered communities, and are a list of sins and the atonements required for committing them. The penance required went up as the scale of the sin increased, and Brundage ranks them in ascending order of sinfulness: masturbation, fornication, adultery, bestiality, anal penetration, and oral sex. This list and its ordering begs two questions. One, how frequently were the clergy engaging in sexual activities that several penitentials needed to be written in the first place? Naughty, naughty monks and nuns. And the second question is, how often were the monks penetrating the local herd of sheep that bestiality made the list in the first place and was considered less of a sin than anal and oral sex? However, history takes a left turn as the penitentials were exported from the cloisters and applied to married life. The penitential authors stressed that sex within the confines of marriage was to be rigidly scheduled, with periods of abstinence such as during menstruation or pregnancy and on church holidays to prevent evil desires from degenerating into a pleasurable habit to be enjoyed by husbands and wives. Sex was considered so sinful that one Archbishop Theodore proclaimed newlyweds were not to enter a church for a month after their marriage and spend 40 days doing penance before resuming regular attendance. The penitentials go so far as to dictate that sex should only occur in the dark, participants should not engage in sex while entirely naked, and never from behind. I wonder, is this how the term missionary position was coined? I digress. Brundage also goes into how and when marriage became a sacrament of the Church, and that was only by the early 1100s, because of the socio-political power it gave the Church. Only after the efforts of the Reformists in the 11th and 12th centuries brought marriage under the domain of ecclesiastical courts did marriage evolve from local practices and the revenues earned for the kingdom into a church prerogative. Despite how unpopular the changes were, most of the population quickly conformed with the new model. The regulation of marriage ties was thus instrumental in freeing the Church from the influence exerted by powerful landed families who could no longer use marriage and divorce for political alliances. These new marriage regulations suffered from the law of unintended consequences, as they led to the evolution of a new societal mindset, coined by psychologists as weird, or Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. Despite the Church's attempts to regulate and control the most private details of people's lives, researchers have noted that these church policies backfired and instead created a mentality of independence. For the full details on how, when, and why the Church began regulating sex and marriage in its self-appointed powers, check out this interesting book by Professor Brundage. Thanks for watching. Please check out the other videos on my channel if history is your thing, and see you next time.